The famous ballad Something by George Harrison and the singles Wonderful Tonight and Layla by Eric Clapton were both inspired by Pattie Boyd, who was a muse for both men during the 1960s and 1970s. She was initially married to the Beatle, but Clapton, who was a close friend of his, began to pursue her through a series of impassioned love letters. At the moment, she is selling a variety of items, including notes from both men, at another auction. Boyd was cast in the film A Hard Day's Night, which was released in 1964, and she immediately felt a connection with Harrison, the band's famously reserved guitarist. This was Boyd's first encounter with the Beatles. He was quite reserved, just as I am. I believe it is the reason why we got along, she remarked in an interview that was published on the website of Christie's, which is an auction company. 2 years passed before they tied the knot in January 1966, during which time the Beatles were frequently gone on tour. During this period, they were dating. According to her, George was incredibly cute when he was not around. At the same time that I was missing him horribly, he would write me fantastic postcards and letters that were absolutely incredible. One of the notes that Harrison leaves in the auction reads, "Hope you're doing well. I long for you. My stomach is rumbling, I need a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches. I adore you." Harrison was unaware that Clapton had feelings for Boyd, despite the fact that he was a frequent visitor to the couple's home in Surrey. "Were you able to determine whether or not you still have feelings for me?" 1970 was the year when he wrote her a letter in angular longhand that was immaculately neat. "I am writing this letter to you, with the main purpose of ascertaining your feelings towards a subject well known to both of us," started the letter. At first, Boyd was under the impression that the letter was from a fan. It wasn't until Clapton called her later that day that she got the truth about the letter. A second letter was written on a page that Clapton had torn from a copy of John Steinbeck's work of Mice and Men. This letter was discovered several months after the first one. Clapton's attempts were initially rejected by Boyd. Nevertheless, in the early 1970s, when Boyd's marriage was experiencing difficulties, the musician extended an invitation to Boyd to accompany him on tour. Their love affair flourished, and in 1979, they tied the knot, with Harrison's approval. Harrison began referring to Clapton as his husband-in-law after the couple tied the knot. When it came down to it, however, Clapton's drunkenness and infidelity were the factors that ultimately led to the dissolution of their marriage in 1989. While Boyd was a well-known fashion model in the 1960s, she eventually shifted her focus to photography. Boyd is the daughter of a former bomber pilot who served in the Royal Air Force. From the beginning of the following month, she will be selling her memorabilia, which includes letters, paintings, photographs, jewelry, and clothes. There is a doodle by Harrison that depicts him sitting beneath an apple tree, and there is also a Christmas card that he produced for her in 1968. Both of these items are included in the selection. The painting L'Argent Fil au Bouquet by Emile Theodore Franzen de Schomburg, which was used as the cover for the album Layla and other assorted love songs by Derek and the Dominoes, which was released in 1970, will be the most valuable item in the sale. The Telegraph was informed by Boyd that she had inquired about Clapton's authorization prior to selling the possessions. Clapton had initially purchased the artwork from the artist's son because the model's blonde hair and beautiful almond eyes reminded him of Boyd. Boyd was the subject of the painting. There is a range of £40,000 to £60,000 that is anticipated for its sale price.